It's Kobra here at MaddenGuides.com, and for this video breakdown, I want to show you how to set up an A-Gap Blitz using these setups from a defensive play out of the 3-4 tight formation. The name of the play that we use for this video breakdown is the 3-4 tight Saw Blitz 0. Here's a look at the playbooks you can find this play out of. The featured playbook that we use is the Steelers. The defensive coaching adjustments that I set here for this blitz setup is the safety def set for close and the safety width set for pinch. Before I actually show the blitz setups out of the 3-4 tight Saw Blitz 0, let's take a look at the default pass coverages and pass rush assignments. Now, this defense is a coverage 0 defense, meaning that you're going to have 5 defenders here that are going to be in man coverage, and it's going to leave you with these 6 defenders that are going to rush the quarterback as you look at it. So there's your 6 defenders. Now, the one thing I did want to point out here is you can actually turn this into a 5-man pass rush, and we'll talk about that later in the video breakdown. For now, I want you guys to know one thing here before I actually continue on with the setups here. This particular defender right here would be the one that's going to generally get pressure through the A-gap without making any type of pre-snap adjustments, and that's going to be the weak inside linebacker. To set up the first blitz setup out of the 3-4 tight Saw Blitz 0, it's pretty simple to do, and you're definitely going to get some A-gap pressure on the quarterback with that weak inside linebacker. The main difference between not making any pre-snap adjustments and making this adjustments I'm about to show is you're going to be able to bring that weak inside linebacker up a little bit closer to the line of scrimmage, therefore getting to the quarterback a lot quicker. So let's go ahead and go through the setup here. Now, the first thing you want to do is go ahead and spread the defensive line out. Next thing you want to do is show blitz. And then I like to go ahead and call QB contain. So there's the setup so far. Now, to make sure that you end up getting this pressure from this linebacker, if you were to run this play as is right at this point right here, more than likely he's not going to get the pressure. Instead, it would end up coming from this outside linebacker on the outside right there. But what we're trying to do here is we want to get this A-gap pressure from this weak inside linebacker, so he'll shoot through that A-gap. Because now, if you'll notice, he's a couple yards closer to the line of scrimmage. So to do that, what I like to do is to bring him to the inside here and stack him up behind the right end as you look at your screen. If done right, you should end up getting some pressure from this particular defender, as I pointed out earlier. Now, on occasion, you may end up getting it from the nose tackle. So one of these two guys should end up getting the pressure on the quarterback. Let's go ahead and run it and take a look at it, and you'll see what I mean as far as getting that pressure on the quarterback right there. Right there, you can see that you end up getting that A-gap pressure. So that's one setup that you can run here from the 3-4 tight Saw Blitz 0. From the all-22 and instant replay, we can get a better idea exactly how the X and O's of this particular play works as far as the 3-4 tight Saw Blitz 0, as far as getting that A-gap pressure coming from this linebacker right here, which is the weak inside linebacker, who will shoot through that A-gap between the left guard and center there as you look at it. Now, to achieve this, the first thing that we got to do is we make sure that we spread the defensive line out, and then you want to call show blitz, and then do QB contain, and then next you want to take control of this defender right here, which is going to be the weak outside linebacker to right outside linebacker, and you want to stack him behind the right end, such as you see on your screen. Now, what's going to happen here, once the ball snapped, he's going to go to the outside, and he's going to get the left tackle to look to block him into that area there. And then what's going to happen to the inside, this right end is going to occupy the left guard. And once that happens, it's going to create this gap. So this left guard is going to go ahead and block in there. And then finally over here, as you look at it, this nose tackle is going to occupy the center. And that's going to create that gap where we can get that pressure on the quarterback. Now, on occasion, with this particular setup, I've seen it happen where you may end up getting pressure coming from this guy right here, this nose tackle. He may end up not getting blocked, whereas the center will block that. The center will end up blocking this guy right here instead. So you may see something like that where he'll block that weak inside linebacker, and then you end up getting pressure coming off the A-gap between the center and the right guard. So he'll come into here and get that pressure. That's on occasion with that nose tackle. Something else you may end up seeing if you start messing around with this a little bit more in the lab. I've seen this happen too, where this guy right here, which is going to be this right end, he may end up getting B-gap pressure if that linebacker gets picked up, as far as that weak inside linebacker gets picked up. I've seen that happen on occasion, but generally the pressure that you're going to end up seeing here as you look at it is in fact going to come from this linebacker right here, this weak inside linebacker, as he shoots through that A-gap. And you can see as you look at it, as far as his blocking is setting up. You can see right now, initially right there, this left guard's blocking that right in. And then you can see right there, the left tackle ends up blocking that guy as well. So you can see the left tackle's now blocking that guy that we're in control of as far as the right outside linebacker. As far as the coverages are concerned, pretty good. Of course, it's man coverage, cover zero. So if your opponent's got some type of cover zero beater, of course, you could get beat. You can do your inside shade, outside shade. You know, if you want to do the underneath, over the top shades, all that's up to you as far as on that, as far as running this blitz. Now I want to show you guys a second blitz that you can run from this particular defense. The second blitz setup that I want to show out of the 3-4 tight Saw Blitz 0 is very similar as far as getting that same pressure where you're trying to get that A-gap pressure coming from that weak inside linebacker here. Now this one's a little bit different, just to try to give your opponent something different to look at. So let's go and take a look at this one. The first thing you're going to do this time is you're actually going to pinch the defensive line. And then what you want to do is you want to bring this guy to the inside. Now you got to make sure he's real close to the line of scrimmage. Obviously you don't want to go off sides, but you want to get him as close as you can to the line of scrimmage. You're going to call show blitz and then do QB contain. Now it doesn't have to be in any particular order, but if you follow those steps, you should end up getting this type of pressure I'm about to show. So there's the setup right there as you look at it. Let's go ahead and run it and take a look at it and see if we can get that A-gap pressure coming from that weak inside linebacker. And right there, you can see that he gets that pressure. So that's another way of setting that one up as far as getting the pressure on the quarterback. Now what I'm going to show is how to get a 5-man pass rush. If you're looking to get a 5-man pass rush with the 3-4 tight Saw Blitz 0, we're going to go back to the original setup that I showed, and we'll be able to get that 5-man pass rush. So let's go and take a look at that. So the first thing you want to do here is you want to spread the defensive line out, call show blitz, and then also call QB contain. So there's a setup so far. Of course, we're going to take this guy, and then we just want to put him behind or stack him up behind the right end. Now, the idea of this would be, remember, this guy right here is in QB contain, so he's going to go into this direction here. And once he gets to the line of scrimmage, then what we got to do is we got to watch to see where this guy's at. So as long as he's getting through this A gap and he's blitzing through here, then what we can do is we can drop this guy back. So we got to make sure he gets to the line of scrimmage before we can drop that guy back to get this 5-man pass rush. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at it, and you'll see what I mean as far as getting that pressure on the quarterback. So right there, once the ball is snapped here, we'll just go ahead and drop this guy back. And right there, you can see we're dropping him back, and we get that 5-man pass rush as far as with this particular defense. If you're looking for another defense to bring pressure on the quarterback out of the 3-4 tight, the Saw Blitz 0 does that. But remember, it's just a cover 0 defense. You can turn it into a 5-man pass rush rather than a 6-man pass rush and still get that A-gap pressure. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment for more Madden guides, strategy, and tips content. See you in the next video.